We're running short on time, so I think this is going to be our last question. And there are a lot more questions that are sitting up here, and any of you are, of course, can contact them anytime you want to find out, and there's lots more forums, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But this evening, and you can, I'm sure you'll find those on websites and the newspaper. The last question, I think we start with Joseph on this, the final round, is on climate change. There was a great editorial in the Santa Fe New Mexican on Monday, February 5th, under the headline, "Next Mayor Must Continue to Fight Climate Change." The piece highlighted Mayor Robert Garcia of Long Beach, California, who is spearheading that city's effort to reduce and mitigate the effects of climate change. I would like to know what each of you would do as Mayor of Santa Fe to ensure that we not only reach the official goal of being carbon neutral by 2040, but also deal with the economic consequences of climate change and put into action a plan for long-term sustainability for the city.
Great question. I know, some might think that climate change is this concept, and we really don't know how it's really going to affect our lives. But I guarantee you, it is going to affect our lives. And I'm going to start with water. The city, in partnership with the county, commissioned 2 studies on our basin. One study basically looked at the impacts of climate change. The conclusions of that study indicated that climate change, and I'm talking about 2050, between now and 2050, the effects of climate change will diminish our surface water supplies significantly. Native surface water up to 1/3, and I'm talking about Santa Fe River water. Imported water, I'm talking about Rio Grande River that's diverted at the Buckman direct diversion. We've even quantified that diminishment, over 9,300 acre feet. So we, the next mayor, needs to be knowledgeable in water resources as I am and get to work on finding new water sources. It's not going to be easy. We've done, I think, incredible things in water conservation. We rely on, in terms of our total water use, 85% is from surface water. Only 50% is from groundwater. And so we need to find new water resources. But we have another study that was done. It was a reuse study, and that concluded that if we use the effluent from our wastewater treatment plant and pipe it down to the Rio Grande, we would, for the first time in the city's history, get credit. It's called a return flow credit, which allows us to divert more Rio Grande water. And so I think, folks, right now it's water. In terms of greenhouse gas emissions, as was mentioned, transportation represents half of our greenhouse gas emissions. We need to change travel behavior, get people out of their vehicles, riding bikes, and riding public transit. Thank you.
I'll start with a partnership with the public schools, which is where I think I left off last time. But we have any number of times worked on a weatherization program, which is always, how do I identify low-income homes and improve their energy efficiency, which is putting film on windows so that it acts like a double-pane window, weather stripping on the doors, a water blanket. Now, this has been tried and has had moderate to little success a number of times for a number of reasons. It's a very complicated program to run, getting people to open up their homes, having all the supplies on hand. So I would like to see us work on sustainability initiatives with our public schools and really get people who are passionate about the environment in this community running experiential project with our kids. Because if we turn the whole thing around and we ask the kids to assess whether they need weather stripping or a water heater blanket or film on the windows, and we have them read the utility bills and do the math after changes are made as to how things have improved, then we are having true experiential learning, and as ever, we should look for solutions that knit together a number of ways that we can improve. Other things, just in writing down that we need to work on, immediately we can consolidate city facilities. We're way too spread out. Specifically, we should close our Siringo offices where the city's purchasing offices are. Not only are those leaky buildings, but we have efficiency issues because when city employees need to work with purchasing, they're pretty much driving 20 minutes each way Valley to Siringo, and that's an emissions issue, but we're also losing productive time. We need to work on our water system and stormwater management to slow down stormwater as we have bigger events and recharge our aquifer. And we absolutely need to continue to solarize, to look at electric cars, and to do the outreach and awareness for people to use less energy and to conserve water, most critically.
Well, if we don't think climate change is here, it's here. We don't have any snow. I mean, you know, that's the thing we're looking at. Right now, I can tell you, back in the 70s, 80s, there was probably about there would be 3 or 5 foot snow in Santa Fe. I remember that. I remember sledding as a kid. It hasn't happened in a long time. But we do. We need to take initiative steps, and I agree. We need to work collaboratively. What I've been saying with the schools, the county, state, we have to come up with a plan for the city, and that includes county, state, because they're all part of our city. So we need to work together with them. When we talk about, we've been doing incentives for many years, rain barrels, zero escaping. We need to continue that. We need to encourage that more. We need to encourage more rooftop, water. Getting those huge cisterns, maybe requiring all new businesses that open for watering. These are just initiatives that we can look at. We talk about, everybody here always talks about they want to see 100% the city fleet. Well, that's what I do for a living. I'm the line manager for the DOT. I oversee over 6,000 vehicles. So I understand vehicles. I would love to see a plow, a big truck that could go plow our streets, but right now it doesn't exist. So we need to work with what we have and hope as technology keeps on going, that somewhere down the line we can get that. I would love to see that. But as it is right now, if we were to have something like that, you'd be plugging it in every 10 minutes to get a job done. So no, the next mayor has to be diligent on that. And again, the next mayor has to work collaboratively with everyone. The city, the schools, the state, because we know climate change is happening here. And it's realistic. And we need to ensure that this city of Santa Fe is ready for it. And I believe we've taken steps right now that we are ready for it.
Thank you for that question. I'm very proud that based on the answers that I gave to that question, I did get the endorsement of the Sierra Club in this election, because I think it is a critical issue for our community going forward. I think it's not just how do we contend with climate change, it's what kind of a goal we set for ourselves as a community. And I believe that the people of Santa Fe are ready to have this city be the most sustainable city in America. Sustainability when it comes to food quality and food security, water, conservation, and energy, renewable energy as the backbone of our energy system. I think we should ensure that by 2025, 50% of the city's electricity is powered by clean energy. As mayor, I would work with the next governor and the legislature to make community solar a part of our portfolio for generating renewable energy and having the city be in a position to send that energy around our community, have it generated locally, and stay in our local community. The cheapest source of both new water and new energy is conservation. And so the city should work diligently with all of our other jurisdictions, including, as Kate says, with the school district, to make sure that it is cheap, convenient, and easy for people to find ways to conserve energy in their homes and in their businesses, and to conserve water so that we don't find ourselves in an emergency situation. And finally, I think we need to embrace something that's a 40-year-old idea called carrying capacity. Carrying capacity is an ecological notion where a community assesses a variety of inputs to its future. Growth in people, energy use, water use, transportation, land use planning, and comes up with a way of assessing how big we can actually get before we really run out of resources. That's the next mayor's job.
It is my hope that in this election, folks will be looking for proven leadership on these issues. And I'm happy to say that carbon neutrality by 2040 is a measure that I introduced in 2014, and which I was able to get the city to adopt. And that defined our long-term goal in terms of becoming carbon neutral by 2040. Since then, I've been a co-sponsor of getting the city to become totally, receive all its electricity from renewables by 2025. I have also served as Javier Gonzalez's co-chair on the Climate Action Task Force because he knows of my passion and leadership on that issue. And I also introduced a measure to bring forth carbon neutrality impact reports so that when we do something down at the city, we're actually assessing what impact that has on those long-term goals in terms of carbon neutrality. So you will see an assessment of those issues on our measures as we move forward. With regards to water conservation, again, I have been chair of the Water Conservation Committee for the past 6 years at the city, and in that capacity have brought forth measures to incentivize rainwater harvesting. I have called for a new stormwater plan, which is currently in development at the city. I have brought forth a measure to incentivize greywater usage within the city. I recently brought forth a proposal to do aquifer storage and recovery and study that across the city to add to the city's water supply. I have brought forth a pilot project to look at water conservation with all of our restaurants as a first effort to engage the private sector in these efforts. I was also a strong advocate of the Green Concierge Program, which has caused all of our hotels across the city of Santa Fe to seek to become much more water and energy conservers than users.
Thank you very, very much. Before I have a few concluding remarks, I want to wish our audience, give our audience to give a big hand to the candidates.